I speak to health guru and host of Emmy Award-winning show, Dr. Oz. Today, Dr. Oz finds out if Western science can prove the merits of traditional Chinese medicine. Welcome back. You're watching World Insights with me, Tian. The program comes to you Monday to Friday on CGTN. Our health is crucial to enjoying a fulfilling life. Scientists and doctors around the world are exploring the final frontiers of medicine to help us live longer and hopefully better. Yet traditional Chinese medicine traces its roots back thousands of years, and it is still being practiced today. So how does this ancient form of treatment compare to its modern Western counterparts? And what are the best parts of both systems? And can they be combined together? To ask those questions, I approached Dr. Mehmet Oz, professor of surgery at Columbia University and Emmy-winning host of the show, Dr. Oz. He shares with us his thoughts. Dr. Oz, you know, people say, oh, what exactly is the scientific proof of all the elements being put into the Chinese medicine and also the result of the treatment? People have a lot of questions about that. What do you think?
Chinese literature, which is very different from the literature read by Western physicians like myself, does have reports of, for example, common cold therapies. And much of the experience in traditional Chinese medicine is around treating symptoms, not necessarily worrying about all the other things that are going around about that, but do you feel better after having it? I today had moxibustion. Today. So, which is an Artemis herb in a, it looks like a wrap paper, and my neck was stiff from having flown over here because, you fall asleep in the wrong way, it hurts, and I feel better. Now, should I ignore that? I think if one person feels better and the safety factors are pretty reasonable, you should continue to practice it, which is why I talk about acupuncture and a lot of the herbs. But it's hard to copy that into the West. The way we teach medicine in the West is, here's one medication for one problem, and it gives you one solution. But the body's not like that. The body's an ecosystem, like the city around us that I'm looking at right now. And so if there was only one road through the city, it would be perfect. But there's not one road. So you want to go to the Hutong district. You want to play a little bit in the lake. Right. You want to go to a big skyscraper. And you want a medical system that respects all that. And I think what we're looking forward to in the future is the globalization of medicine. Think about this. This interview, you personally, are seen all over the world. Right? My show is in 100 countries. Likewise, our financial systems are global. But medicine has stayed provincial, very small. And we should have medicine be global as well. You want traditional Chinese medicine with Western medicine together. Why choose?
But you know, Dr. Oz, it's a totally different thinking system. As you said, ecosystem. Chinese ancestors apparently have realized that a long time ago. Of course, they didn't go into the details also about the Western way of thinking, which is having so-called scientific proof. So it's two different ways of thinking about one's body, one's life, as in relationship with the nature. How to merge these two together, I think that is the challenge.
But the Western mind and the Eastern mind have learned to adapt. This concept of complementarity, which is actually from physics. When Einstein developed particle theory and wave theory, he realized that you could have two mutually exclusive ideas. They could both be true. How can you have particle and wave as the foundation of matter? Well, you can. And in its fashion, you want to have integrative medicine. You want to have traditional Chinese medicine, and you want to have Western medicine. And why can't I choose? If I have an acute problem, I cut my leg. Have someone sew it up. That's a Western approach. If I have arthritis of my knee, why not take advantage of the fact that there are solutions that are outside the norm in Western medicine that seem to help people? If it works for 1.5 billion people here in China, why wouldn't I want to make it accessible to people in Europe, the United States, and all over the world?
But how would you answer those questions, the so-called questions based on scientific proof? Or is it going to be only superficial imitation of what exactly Chinese medicine is about?
The better we get at researching why the body does what it does, the more we'll understand why traditional Chinese medicine works. And I do want to be honest about the reality that not everything is going to be shown to be equally effective. But if you have an herb that works, I can finally, for the first time, understand why a biochemical system allows the immune cells to become more aggressive with or without this herb. Take advantage of it.
You're also working now as a member of the Health Advisory Council for the President of the United States. But people really wonder, where is it on the list of priorities for the current administration in the U.S. when it comes to health?
Well, I do know, without question, that everyone in America values their children. And the primary role of the Presidential Council on Fitness and Nutrition and Sports is to make sure young people get out there and get active. And the other members of the council, many of them are sports figures, people who are notable for being vocal on the need to get out and be active, share my enthusiasm. And I've been working in this area for 15 years. We have a kids foundation that spreads out across the nation.
But you know, Dr. Oz, over the years, even through administrations, first ladies of various generations pay a close attention to this. But some reports suggest that the situation is not necessarily improving. So what's wrong?
The first Presidential Council was created by Dwight Eisenhower in the 50s, and President Kennedy, and on through, and the First Lady Michelle Obama would come on my show all the time to talk about her initiatives with young people in health. And Ivanka Trump has been on the same purpose. And so I've had these conversations. The fact of the matter is, we live in a society where we have made it more difficult for young people to be active. This is true here in China. It's true in the United States.
Why is it more difficult?
We don't build communities that have sidewalks or recreational areas. There are no parks you can go to in many parts of the world. And we just give people soccer balls, let them go kick it around. Even that we haven't been able to do. So you've taken an activity that, when I was young, you'd be told, go outside and play until it gets dark. Now your mother coordinates a play date for you at 3:15 on Wednesday. Well, that's hard for everybody. It's hard for mom. It's hard to coordinate it. It's not a lot of playing.
But society has changed. You have to accept that fact and reality.
Society's changed, but there's no reason why we're not smarter about it. And in the United States, the level of obesity has become a problem more and more, but childhood obesity has flattened. And more importantly, among affluent people, obesity is going down.
Affluent meaning people with what kinds of level of income?
If you're making $100,000 or more, the chance of your having an obesity problem goes down. If you're better educated, it goes down as well.
What does it say? What does that say?
It says that when you learn what to do and you have the resources to pursue that knowledge, plus you probably are a little less stressed because you're not worried about the next day's paycheck, that you can cope with your health. And this is true around the world. The challenge for all of us is to recognize that people without a lot of resources all deserve the chance to be healthy. Listen, I don't argue that we should ever say you have to have equal outcomes. You can't guarantee that everyone will always be healthy at the same amount or have the same amount of money or anything else. But we all deserve a chance to be healthy enough to compete in the game of life. And when we don't let young people be healthy enough to get on the playing field, we're taking away their birthright. They will never be able to score and win because they aren't on the field of life.
I'm sure you have realized this administration is quite a controversial one so far. And therefore, serving on that board means even probably more responsibility than it used to be for the nation, for your country, the United States of America. But at the same time, the U.S., over the years, has been demonstrating somewhat its leadership in different fields, including health and research about health. But the question is, will that continue? From your perspective, what is likely to be the case?
The biggest challenge in health is actually not what a president or an administration says, it's what personal responsibility people take. We see that firsthand here in China, where individuals recognize no one's going to do it for you. I think too often in the United States and in other parts of the Western world, people expect the government, their doctors, some administration to take charge of their health, and it's never going to happen. The only way to find true happiness is to do what you can for yourself. The major role of the health system is to catch you if you fall, not to be a crutch and lead you along. In fact, no one really wants to have someone telling them what to do for their health. So let's get back to the fundamental responsibility we all have to have. Part of why I'm here in China and I'm so excited about this is traditional Chinese medicine and the philosophical approach it offers, together with other world cultures, Ayurvedic medicine, medicines from Africa and South America. They give us wisdom and opportunities, but mostly they give us hope, and real hope, that you can take advantage of tools that have existed for centuries to deal with the chronic problems that plague humanity and make all of us healthier. It's one of the ways we can forge a bridge, a relationship. You can fight trade wars, but never fight over health.
Maybe not even trade wars.
I don't think trade wars are worth it either, but at least you can see people and why they might do that. But why would you fight health wars? Take the wisdom that other people may have found. No father wants his children to be sick. No mother wants their parents to be sick. Allow those techniques to work. Healthcare, the financing of it needs to be done for people who need it, but the cultural responsibility needs to be on each of us.
You see, Dr. Oz, over the years, the research has really sped up. over the years. And you see people think about a bigger potential of their longevity. You see people think about bigger potential of their youth. And they want to sustain their youth as much as possible. A lot of basic scientific research actually could support that now. The question is whether those research are going to be implemented or not, and whether those are, in a way, interacting with the ethical issues. You see that in stem cell research. You also see that about longevity. So, Dr. Oz, I wondered, for someone who has been working on this field for a long time, what do you make of this controversy or balance in a way?
First off, if you can hear my voice right now, there's a good chance that you'll live to age 120. That's for all listeners out there. And I want to just make this clear.
What is making us living 120? I'm counting on you right now.
So your biologic clock should predict that you live to 120. The question is, what are you going to do wrong that holds you back? Yes. It might be related to mental health issues and Alzheimer's, which is the most feared of the ailments I talk about, but a lot of our lifestyle choices that drive heart disease, cancer, autoimmune problems, and all the chronic illnesses that hold us back from living the most vital life we can. But the wisdom is still there. You should be able to get to age 120, and we see better and better tools to get us there. Some are lifestyle, some are medications and supplements and ideas that are on the cutting edge, and I see this data more and more. So I'm optimistic that between those preventive approaches and some of the stem cell and genetic manipulations that will become available, that we're going to be able to prevent a lot of the ailments that cull the population, that take out the people who could have otherwise survived. The question is, can we afford what we're talking about? When people live longer, they do develop more chronic illnesses, but many of them are not expensive to treat as long as they're things like high cholesterol, right? Not difficult to manage. But the real issue is stem cell therapy for things like cancer. Because I can take your immune cells out of you. I can teach them to attack your cancer. Because listen, we all have cancer right now. All of us. Anyone who's listening to us and watching us has cancer. But our immune cells, thankfully, most of the time will see the cancer and kill it. Yeah. What happens when the cancer hides? It uses a technique that it has picked up to slip away. And if I can turn your immune system on to kill the cancer, you no longer will die from it. Or maybe you'll get it, but it'll just be a chronic issue for you. But that does become expensive. And I believe we have the opportunity to make these therapies much, much less expensive. And the beauty is that the best medicine is high-quality medicine, and the most expensive medicine is bad medicine. So one of the beautiful things about modern health is as we get wiser in the interventions we offer, they also become more timely, and that makes them less expensive. There's a saying in Turkish, and my strange name, Mehmet Oz, is a Turkish name, but it takes one fool to throw a coin down a well, but it takes 99 wise men to pull it back up again. That's often what we do in medicine. We use high-dose chemotherapy, difficult operations for people who have bad problems, instead of looking at the root problem that led to the issue. When we can target those therapies more accurately, we'll get better results, and it won't cost us as much either, which is why I'm optimistic about the longevity of our population.
It doesn't cost as much as it used to be, but it's still extremely expensive for people, particularly from emerging and developing countries. So here is the issue, if we're talking about one of those ethical issues, that is fairness. The fairness, why would someone get the treatment and the preventive measures that would help them to have much longer life than the others? And if they do, what would happen? So these are all ethical questions that we have to think about before it happens.
If you don't expose people to the truth of how much they're spending on health care, and you say, what percentage of what you make would you spend to be healthy? The average person around the world will say 20%. I'll spend 20 cents of every dollar I make on being healthier. Right now in the world, we don't spend anything close to that. In most countries, it's single digits, under 10%. So I don't want to double the percentage of our gross national product we spend on health, but we can spend more than 8% on it. In the United States, we already spend 15, 16%. So we don't have
That's already a lot, you know, compared to the other countries.
But we waste at least a third of it. At least a third.
It depends on where you put the money.
Yeah. So if we spend the money in the right place, and we spend 10, 12, 14% of what we spend to be healthier, and some of that goes into better food as well, why not? It's similar to energy. You can spend money on oil, you can spend it on renewables. The renewables cost more today, but they won't forever. But one gives you a long-term game plan, the other one doesn't. The bigger issue as well is if you train women, which is the big opportunity where I see change. Women who are educated, have less children, live longer, and they're the key family officer. They're the one I speak to. They're the ones that go out there and they spread the word, and they're very powerful, and people don't respect it.
And they get things done.
Always. In fact, my show, crazily, is probably the top show for political advertising in America, even though I don't ever talk about politics, because my viewers are women, wise, thoughtful women, and no one talks to them and empowers them to be active.
Yeah.
So I look around me here in this beautiful studio of yours overlooking Beijing, and all the women that are in these little homes around us are making critical, vital decisions for the wealth and health of their family. Why not empower them, give them the tools they need to make sure that they're the glue that holds everyone healthier?
How could that be possible? I mean, this guy has to travel to more than 100 countries around the world because his show is being shown over there. And he has to be appearing on TV all the time and look fresh and absolutely intelligent, that's coming from the real essence, and be able to keep up with all the latest development of scientific research. Well, at the same time, he's a heart surgeon. He's working in Columbia University and now also a member of the Advisory Council on Health for the President. So how could you balance all of the things? I think this would be a very interesting analysis that we do about you that would help the others.
It sounds like an intervention on me. You know, I think the most important message I'd ever give anybody about my life is it's not about time management. It's about energy management.
Tell me more about that.
If the things you do give you chi, give you that life force that's spoken of so often in this beautiful country, then you'll do more of it. So if I do things like when I operate, which I do once a week, or when I make the show, you know, getting ready for the show, it can be difficult. You have to I have to study notes, you know, get makeup. The hardest thing I do is makeup, which I'm not used to. But when I actually make the show, I never feel tired. It's exciting to me. It's enjoyable. It gives me energy. And as long as the things I'm doing in my life are giving me a sense of purpose and life force, I want to keep doing them. I never really feel tired. And I think that's probably the big takeaway for anybody who's busy. They've found a way of taking more of their life in the things that give them energy and less of the hard work that takes and saps the energy. I feel more troubled by people doing jobs they don't love doing, because every day is a job. And then that's not fun to live.
Our exclusive interview with Dr. Oz. And that is all the time we have for today. If you'd like to see more, try to find us World Inside CGTN into your search engine or check out our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Sina Weibo. From me, Tian and everyone on the World Inside team, thanks for watching. Tune in again next time for insights across China and around the world.